process of increasing in size. A feature that is both individual, intrinsic, and throughout nature.
This is going to be so interesting, you know.
This is the moment we have been waiting for.
I'm feeling it now.
What has come before is now consigned to the history books. This new decade brings new challenges, new rivals, falling giants, and new beginnings.
Bang, bang, bang! 3 shots to the heart.
Oh,
It's the back end. Oh no!
Those who are climbing will meet. Who will fall by the wayside, and who will embody growth.
There's still wheel to wheel!
That is unbelievable!
League of Europe, grow or fade.
How is it going, everyone? Welcome back to the League of Europe. We are here for round 8 around the Austrian Grand Prix. My name is Jacob, bringing you guys the comms as always for the PCTA for the League of Europe. As you guys can see on your screen, you have got the calendar that we are going through. As I said, we are currently in round 8. We are approaching the halfway mark of the calendar already here for F1 2020 for the first season of PC. It has been a good turnout so far. Of course, it's starting to die down a little bit. I think a lot of people are just losing interest for the game, but I'm hoping we can pick that up sometime soon in the future. But for now, at the moment, it's still going pretty well so far, and hopefully we do continue to see a bit more growth going on within the league for the PC side. Of course, I know in PS4 or the PS side, we have already got 5 tiers. But yeah, as I said, hopefully we can grow this PC side a bit more, and hopefully we can, continue to, I don't want to try and use a pun, but continue to excel it. But anyway, as I said, we are here for round 8. It is Austria for tonight. Next weekend we have got Britain. Then we've got Hungary the week after, Belgium in 3 weeks' time, and Italy in 4 weeks' time. And then we've got our only break week of the season. And then, as you can see, after that, we are basically in the Asia region and the US region. We've got Singapore, Japan, USA, Mexico, Abu Dhabi, and Brazil. Brazil always being our final race, just as kind of a tradition, as it always is. And I will just be getting the standings up for you guys now, just so you can have a look and see who is where in the standings. So, as you can see on your screen, Mr. Anchor, he did manage to take the win and the fastest lap last weekend. He took the full 26 points after what happened to Dylan Warren, who ended up taking second. He was on for the win. Unfortunate spin in the final lap for him. Hopefully, if he does try to fight for the win, he won't make the same mistake this evening. But he is currently third in the standings. Syke is the one that is in second, but it's by 65 points, and that gap is going to continue to grow. As unfortunately, he isn't here tonight. He was saying that he's just feeling a bit too poorly to race. So hopefully, he does get better soon. As I said, Warren is in third in the championship on 83 points. Dan is in fourth on 68, of course, after Jonathan retiring. So this could be a chance for him to try and gain his way back up to Syke as well. Same with Warren, to maybe even overtake Syke in the championship, or at least bring that gap closer. Coop Janssen is in fifth, splitting him and Dan by 29 points. Again, unfortunately, he is not here tonight. So Vallejo is the one in sixth, and hoping, I think him and V5 are really hoping that they can move their way up in the standings, because with Coop not being here tonight either, it means that Vallejo gets a chance to move into fifth in the championship just behind his McLaren teammate. So we'll keep our eye out on that one. And same with E2. He's had a few good performances over these last few weeks, but unfortunately he isn't here tonight either. So he is sitting in 7th on 35 points, tied with Vallejo. So this is an opportunity for the Finn in the McLaren to get away from, I suppose, his Finnish rival. In 8th is V5, taking an impressive podium last week, his first podium of the season, and if I'm not mistaken, I think his first ever podium in the League of Europe, even from the PlayStation side. Black Panther is in 9th, unfortunately not here tonight either. Just due to a storm, I think, that's going on in Belgium, so hopefully he can get all of that sorted. Well, I say hopefully he can get that sorted soon. He can't control the weather. Hopefully, the weather does sort of ease down in Belgium. Bree is sitting in 10th on 20 points. Groundsy in 11th with 16. Graham in 12th with 15. Bones is in 13th with 14. So a little bit of a battle going on there for what looks like it is P10. In 14th is O'Hardy picking up his first set of points for the Ferrari guys and an impressive 4th place last weekend. So good on him for that one. Gilzo in 15th, who unfortunately isn't able to sort of carry on with the league at the moment just due to a few hardware issues with his PC, and hopefully he can get those fixed ASAP. In 16th is the Spaniard of Frey. He is actually here tonight, so hopefully he can maybe move up ahead of the Irishman. Exy is in 17th. He only has the 1 points position so far at Baku, and I think he is hoping to try and get himself some points for tonight. Itendu in 18th on 2 points. Unfortunately, he isn't here tonight. WF Gaming, once again, isn't here tonight. Cisco is the one sitting in 20th with Greenpoint, who is now in the full-time seat in the Williams at the moment. They're both currently on 0 points. I believe he is here tonight as well, so hopefully he can pick up his first set of points. And we have got a newcomer in the league who you will see his name very shortly, but his name is Warshaw. Hopefully he's looking to try and pick up some points as well, as long as he keeps it nice and clean out on the track. As there are only 14 runners here tonight, then he should be all good for at least a couple of points on the board. So let's get into the qualifying session. At the moment, from the looks of things, Dan is the one that is sitting on pole position. Mr. Anchor is still yet to do a lap time. Greenpoint, I think, was on a lap, but you can see his front wing is completely gone. But Dan, as I said, he's currently sitting on pole at the moment with a 2.9. So we'll wait and see if Mr. Anchor is able to top that. He's on a set of the mediums coming through sector 2 now. So we'll stick on board with our current championship leader to see how he fares on throughout the rest of the lap. But at the moment, you can see there's been a few different strategies that are going on. O'Hardy and Frey have both opted to go on a set of the mediums so far. So let's keep our eye out and see if anybody is able to beat those guys on those mediums. Of course, I know a few guys are already done a better time on the set of softs. Again, it's just keeping an eye out and seeing who's going to do what. But Mr. Anchor, he's making his way around the final corner now. A little bit of an oversteer. I don't know if that was a bit of lag or what on my side, but he's gone and done a 4.0 on the set of the mediums. So a good time for the Finn. And do you know what? We've done it last weekend with him. We're going to do it this weekend with him. We're going to sit on board with V5 as he takes us around. In fact, he's not going to take us around the lap. I think, is Vallejo on a lap? He is. We're right on board with the Finn in the McLaren for a lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. So I think just as he was making his way around the final corner, I think he just unfortunately invalidated his lap time. So unfortunate for the Finn, didn't improve or didn't manage to improve on his lap time because of that. But let's just see if there's anybody else that's currently out on a lap. I believe V5 is, in fact, he's actually just making his way unfortunately back. But Warshaw, he's not actually out on a lap at the moment. It says his ERS is on 2 and it looks like he's on a lap, but it looks like he's gotten himself some wing damage, so he isn't going to be completing that lap. Exy is, I think, going to be the next one across the line on an actual lap. Sven is just behind him, and same with Greenpoint, although Greenpoint is just on an out lap. But right on board with the German at the moment. He's looking to try and bag himself some points. And speaking of bags, he's just up ahead of his teammate Bagger 9 Bones, only by about a tenth, so very close between these two. But here we go, Exy making his way around turn 4, straight in down to second gear and short shifting up from third to fourth. A little bit of an ease off going through turn 5 though, which is very odd, but nonetheless, he's still carrying on with his lap. He is only just up on his time at the moment. I don't know if it was just a bit of lag on my side, but he has unfortunately invalidated his lap going through what I believe was turn 8, unfortunately for him. So no sort of times going to be done for Exy. In case any of the guys on the stream are listening, you need to, in order to make the pit stop, you will need to push yourself to the right hand side. If you do not, and you try and take the normal racing line to go into the pit, then you will be penalised for it. I will be sort of keeping an extra eye out on, on my side anyway, but that is what will happen if you don't comply with the actual rules for it. You've got to take it basically like how Vallejo is taking it at the moment. He's just going around the final corner, keeping it in between the two white lines. That is how you are supposed to do it. Dan, he's also done the same thing, but Bree, I was just about to sit on board with him, but it looks as if he's invalidated his lap. But what would his time have been anyway? It was a 3.2, so that would have put him in P2. It would have been an XL1-2. However, I believe Mr. Anchor, he's done a 3.6. He's done that on the set of mediums. He has. So very good time for the Finn to do that, and I think he's just looking for a bit more of a challenge today. As I said, unfortunately Syke isn't here this evening, so he's maybe looking for a little bit more of a challenge, so maybe starting on the set of the mediums. Could be a bit of a challenge for him, but right on board with the Brit, who's now just claimed himself a full-time seat of Greenpoint, making his way along the final corner and up towards the line. He goes and does a 4.8. Putting him into the top 10 for now. Of course, the two guys yet to make any sort of laps so far are BDG Warren and V5HRL as well. I think that was just Greenpoint getting out of the way of the AlphaTauri. I believe that was of Exy, who's just on an outlap at the moment. Bones, he did improve on his time, only just, which has kept him up ahead of Frey. Very close between these guys as well, from I think that's 5th downwards. It's very close. Well, 5th to 8th, shall I say. Only split by 10th and a half between those guys, so very, very close. Let's just have a look and see who else is on a lap at the moment. Bones and Greenpoint are on in laps, as you see. Bones just going into the pits. Warshaw is on an out lap, so is Exy, who's just up ahead of him. Vallejo just came out of the pits on an out lap, so it looks as if Exy is going to be the next one along the line, and he's gone on a set of mediums, I think, just to get more of a feel for the track. So we'll stick on board with the man in the AlphaTauri, the German. We've got 4 minutes left of the session. I assume he's probably going to just be in at the end of this lap, but we'll run on board with him anyway, making his way through turn 1, taking it nice and cautiously just to make sure he does not invalidate. Now DRS is wide open. First or second of 3 DRS zones. I suppose it would be the first one, because here is the second one after this hairpin, going down into second gear. Want to get on the power nice and early, short shift it maybe up into third, which it looks like he has done. As said, second DRS zone now activated, as he's making his way around turn 4 now. Nice and early on the power once again, straight into third, into fourth as well. Now making his way around turn 5 and now turn 6. The long left-hander, want to make sure you don't go too wide there, otherwise you will invalidate. Coming around turn 7 and turn 8, the sort of S section of the track. On these sets of mediums, I think he might be down on his time as Exy. Is he going to be in this lap? He is, and that's the way you do not want to be taking the pit lane. That's what I'm saying. So I know it's only qualifying. Exy, I don't think will get penalised because it is only qualifying. If you're doing that in the race, however, then there could be some penalising going on in regards to that. But Warshaw, he's making his way up towards the line. He, in fact, I think is just going to be starting his lap now. So we'll ride on board with the American as he makes his way around turn 1 again, keeping it nice and cautious. Nice exit out of there. DRS now wide open for the American, ironically in the American car, making his way up towards turn 3, keeping it nice and open on there. A little bit of oversteer, but kept it nicely anyway. Now DRS is wide open for the American, making his way up towards turn 4, breaking it around sort of the 100-meter board, keeping that nice. Yep, done that very nicely. And now, as I said, he's the newcomer of the league, so he's making his way around turn 6. Again, don't want to go too wide, otherwise you do end up invalidating. It's looking like a decent lap for the American so far. He could be up ahead of Sven, maybe even up ahead of Greenpoint coming towards the end of it. I haven't seen if he is up or down on his times. However, he's actually run out of fuel, so it's looking like a good time for him. Unfortunately, running out of fuel. He might be able to get just one more run out if he comes straight in and out of the pits, but if not, then that is that done for him. He's not going to be able to get any sort of lap time done, even as Sven comes across the line a 4.3, goes the Dutchman in the Red Bull. Let's just see who else have we got that's either on a lap or close to finishing a lap. I think Greenpoint is going to be in the next one to get a lap done, unless Vallejo. He has improved on his time. He's done a 3.4, so I don't think he's going to be able to go and do another lap, unless Sven, of course, is doing yet another lap, although it doesn't look as if he is. So we're right on board with the Williams, the Brit in the Williams, making his way up towards turn 1. He is a 10th up on his time, so this will still keep him in P11 for now. However, I know we've still got another 2 sectors to go on the track. This could be where he can make a massive improvement. Of course, sector 1 really only consists of turn 1 and 2, if you want to count it as turn 2. Excuse me. So I know it's not going to be a lot of time to try and make up there. Really, just making sure you get the best exit and entry into turn 1 as possible. Which will then just give you the best amount of time. But here we go through through sector 2. He's 2/10 up on his time, so this could be very close to in contention with Sven, as long as he doesn't invalidate on these final 2 corners. Does the Brit. He's making his way up towards the penultimate corner now. Mounts the curb on the outside once again. Now through the final corner. Is it in contention with Sven? It is, and in fact it's up ahead of him and up ahead of O'Hardy. So Greenpoint puts himself up into P9. Dylan Warren hasn't actually gone out and done a time, and it doesn't look as if he's going out to do a time. So he isn't going to be getting any sort of time done for him. V5, he's just making his way around the final corner now, and let's see what the Brit does. He made it on pole. Sorry, made it on the podium last week. He puts himself into P5. Only just shy of his teammate who's sitting in P3 at the moment, Mr. Anchor. He is just taking a lap nice and slowly as Bree, a 3.0 for the Maltese man. Only a 10th shy of Dan, who is currently sitting on pole. However, Mr. Anchor, he's still going to be able to get a sort of lap time done, and same with Graham. They are currently on outlaps. As I said, Warren not getting any sort of lap time done for him, as Frey improves, jumps up ahead of V5 and putting it into 6th position as Exy jumps up ahead of them and goes into 3rd position. So great lap time for the AlphaTauri. I think that's a lot higher a lot higher than what he had expected. As a few guys, I think, are making their way to finish their laps now, as Dan, no improvement for him. He did unfortunately invalidate on his time. Greenpoint is going into the pits, I do believe. I believe V5 is also going to be following him into the pits. Yes, he is. Bree, he is not improving on his time either. So Mr. Anchor, I think, is going to be the... No, he won't be the next one, actually. It might be... Who is it? Is it Bones? Nope. Exy, he's already done a time. Sven, it's not going to be him. Is it O'Hardy? No, he's going very slowly. So it's going to be the racing point of Graham, who's unfortunately invalidated. So he isn't going to be improving on his time. So really, it is Mr. Anchor. And he is 6/10 up on his time. This is going to put him in pole just up ahead of Dan. So we'll see how the Finn does fair run as he's making his way up towards the penultimate corner now. Keeping it in 7th gear, nice rotation out of there, into 5th on the final corner. This is looking like it's going to be on pole. What time is he going to do? He has done a 2.6 on his final run of the session. And everybody else, I think, actually just slotted their way into the pits. So Mr. Anchor chucking it on pole once again. I think this is like his 4th or 5th pole in a row. Dan, he is in P2. Of course, Warren didn't go out and do a time, so he is going to be starting at the back of the grid. But yeah, Dan in P2, the other XL member of Bree in P3, Exy in P4. Again, I don't think that's where the German was expecting him to be qualifying on, but he's got there in the end. Vallejo in 5th place with Freight in 6th, V5 in 7th, Graham in 8th, Greenpoint in 9th, Bones in 9th, Greenpoint in 10th, O'Hardy in P11. Of course, he gets his fresh set of tyres, so does Sven, so does Warshaw, and so does Warren. All doing their times as well. But just waiting for Warshaw to retire, and then we can get the race underway. And if everybody in the chat would want to try and maybe get their top 3 predictions into the chat, see who is going to be where. I personally think Mr. Anchor is just going to take another blitz-in win. However, I know Dan's pace around here can be really quick. And it looks like Bree is also looking quite racy as well. I think Warren may come through the field. So I think the top 3 are going to be Mr. Anchor, Dan and Warren, I think, in that order. It just depends on how quick Warren can make his way through this field. If he can make it through quickly, then maybe it will be a change between Dan and Warren. But I personally think that's just how it is going to be. But there you go. There is your final classifications for qualifying. As I said, Mr. Anchor putting it on pole. Dan in second, Bree in third, XC in fourth, Vallejo in fifth with Frey in sixth, V5 in seventh, Graham in eighth, Bag of Bones in ninth, Greenpoint rounding out that top 10, O'Hardy in 11th, Sven in 12th, Warshaw in 13th, and Warren, the only one not to set himself a time, qualifying in P14. Because if you guys are new to the League of Europe, it is the top 12 that will end up getting themselves some points. So everyone all the way down to, I think it was, who was the one that qualified in 12th? Was it Sven, I think it was? Everyone down to him will end up getting themselves some points. Of course, I think it was Warshaw and Warren were the only two that were outside of the points so far. But of course, Warren is going to make his way through the field. There is no doubt about that. And then it's just waiting for everybody else to to see what's going to happen. I know turn one can be a bit of carnage usually at Austria, so we'll wait and see how that one does fare on. But as I said, I said my top three. I think it's going to be Mr. Anchor, Dan, and Warren. If it even finishes in that order, I'm not too sure. But again, we'll wait and see. If Warren does end up taking the win or taking second in the fastest lap, he will move up ahead of Syke or he'll be tied with Syke in the championship for that second place, because I think Mr. Anchor, he's just a guy that cannot be stopped at the moment, and he is, he's just absolutely rapid. So there's no sort of shadow of a doubt about that. He is more than likely I think he's more than likely going to win the championship for this season. But let's have a look at what the guys outside of the top 10 have decided to go on. O'Hardy and Sven have gone on a set of the mediums, and Warshaw and Warren have gone on a set of the hards. So they are going to try and do a bit of a reverse strategy, and I believe so is O'Hardy and Sven, because I think you can probably take the mediums to like lap 22, 21 or something like that, and then you can take the softs to the end of the race. I think that's what they are more than likely opting to try and do. Of course, Warshaw and Warren probably going to try and take these hards to about lap 26, lap 27, and then go to the end of the race on them. But yeah, of course, as I said, Mr. Anchor, he's put it on pole this time. Dan, he did get in front of him in Canada when he was racing him. I think it was Canada or it was Baku. It was one of those two. So let's see if he is able to possibly do it again, and maybe even just try and challenge Mr. Anchor. At the moment, the only ones that have actually been able to are Onyx and Syke, and of course both of them are not here. Onyx has unfortunately left the league, but Syke unfortunately not being here tonight. So let's see if we're going to see anybody other than a VSR member up at the top step of the podium. But again, we shall await and see. As I said, if you guys are new to LOE, make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel. Trying to push for those 500 subscribers, I suppose. But we are sort of, at the end of the day, just all one big community here. We've got a few guys saying, go doo-doo. I'm not too sure who that is. I'm just trying to see who that is. Is that Sven? I think it might be Sven. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Or it might be Sean. Or Warshaw. But I notice the 5 lights are there. They are not right. So here we go. Now we are waiting for the 5 red lights. And they've already gone out. Lights out and away we go. Dan has got on that start that he needed. But Exy, an even better start than Bree. And in fact, he's actually trying to challenge Dan to go side by side as Vallejo goes around the outside of Bree and the outside of Exy. And Exy, a little bit of contact between the pair of them as Exy very close to spinning. But he has managed to keep it on the track as his teammate has just gotten past him. Freight and O'Hardy did not look like they got the start that they want. But at the moment, Mr. Anchor does hold on to the lead of the race. A little bit of a tap from Frey. That's actually allowed Exy to get up ahead of his teammate of Bones. And V5 up into P8 as O'Hardy jumps himself up into P9 as well. Both going side by side now in towards turn 4 as O'Hardy trying to go around the outside of V5 in towards turn 4. No sort of move is going to be done as Warren moving his way up into P11 already. Getting himself 3 places up on the first lap as Frey and V5 now both side by side. Frey trying to go around the outside of turn 6 on V5. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. Paravan, bit of shove off, but Frey, what a move around the outside on the Brit and the Mercedes. Both still side by side, however. I think V5 may even hold this position. Now Hardy maybe trying to get involved, but I think Frey is going to back off. Oh no, they're still keeping it side by side. Bit of contact between the pair of them. It was never going to happen. Frey has gone round, unfortunately for the Spaniard. He is round, but after the first lap, Vallejo, he does move himself up into a podium position in P3 for now, but at the moment the top two, they have managed to hold their own. Mr. Anchor does already maintain a bit of a 7/10 gap to Dan in second. Vallejo, as I said, moves himself up into third with Bree in fourth. Graham jumps his way up into P5. Exy into that unfortunate start down into sixth place. He looked like he got a lightning start up ahead of the likes of Bree and up the ahead of Vallejo, but I think there's just a bit of contact between the pair of them. It was a bit unfortunate. Bones up into 7th with V5 into 8th. O'Hardy up into 9th, same with Warren into 10th. Sven unfortunately down into 11th. Greenpoint unfortunately down into 11th, just dropping the one place I think off the start. You can see the predicted pit stop strategy. It does say a soft to medium for these guys, but really I think it is more of a bit of a soft to hard strategy around here. The medium tyres do tend to die out come towards the end of the race, risking sort of puncture territory. So I expect when a lot of these guys do come into the pits around sort of like lap 10, lap 11, they'll be going on a set of the hard tyres. Dan is the one that has set the fastest lap of the race so far, a 6.1. So that was even faster than Mr. Anchor. And Dan, he does have the DRS to the VSR man, so he's going to try and pull away from his teammate, try and pull away from that gap that's behind him. He will keep that DRS going into the second DRS zone. So any bit of DRS for Dan will help him keep up with Mr. Anchor. And of course, with it being Austria, a lot of fast corners around here, it is easy to pick themselves up a penalty, as Greenpoint and Sven both just went side by side. I think Sven just getting a move done on the Williams driver pretty quickly, but Exy still keeping up with him there, as Warshaw I think has gone round at the exit of turn 2. Doesn't look as if he's got any wing damage, however, so I think he is still going to carry on going, but Exy closing back up to the back of the racing point of Graham. And we'll see how the German does fare on trying to get past this racing point. But Dan, he's keeping it all, or he's doing it all to try and keep up with Mr. Anchor at the front of the grid. Bit of a bad exit out of the final corner, but he's still setting the fastest lap of the race. A 6.1 has the Dutchman. And I think we're going to have a lot of the XL guys in here trying to root on Dan and see how he does fare on. As Warren and Hardy both just going side by side. Warren getting that move done already on the Ferrari. Bit of a Red Bull versus Ferrari situation. As in fact, Warren won't have the DRS. Hardy will have the DRS on him. Trying to go down the inside in towards turn 3. A little bit of contact between the pair of them, but I think Hardy might try and get that move done. Warren does brake late to try and keep it around the outside. Still both side by side, and Warren will have the better traction coming out of it. However, Hardy does have the DRS into it as well. So here we go. Hardy DRS now wide open, trying to keep the inside down in towards turn 4. Of course, I think Warren is also going to have his overtake on. Both still side by side. Warren trying to go for a bit of a switchback on the Ferrari. Good racing between the pair of them. I think Hardy might have just kept the place from the Red Bull, although both still side by side. Going through turn 5 and turn 6. Warren trying to go the longest way around, as a little bit of contact between the pair of them there. But I think Warren, he's gotten the move done. Very good racing between the pair of them. But that's what I'm saying. Penalties are going to take into effect in it, and he's picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. But back on board with this battle here for P5. Exy only 5/10 behind Graham, as he's making his way through, or up to the first DRS zone through turn 1. Not the exit that I think the German would have wanted. I think Graham got a much better exit than what he did there, and I think Bones, he's lost DRS to his teammate as well, so it's allowing V5 to now close up to the back of him. V5 trying to go for a move, maybe down in towards turn 3. Very close between the pair of them, both leaving them each other space as well, but Bones gets a much better traction out of that corner. But V5 will have the DRS still, and now he's got to fend off, I think, a charging Warren as Exy and Graham now both side by side. Graham trying to hold it around the outside, trying to go for a bit of a switch back on the German, as they're both still side by side now going through turn 4 and turn 5. Good racing between the pair of them here, as well as Exy now trying to keep it down the inside. Graham will have much better traction coming out of it, however, but it looks as if Exy is trying to hold his own, trying to go down the inside maybe, but throws Graham off of that as well, and now still both side by side. As in fact, Graham, I think he must have gotten quite a bit of oversteer, because he's lost a lot of time to Exy, and now that's allowed Bones to catch up to the back of him. So Bones, he will get himself some DRS off of the pleading racing point just in front of him, and now we've got a bit of a DRS train with Bones at the front. With Graham at the front of it, as Bones, He is very close to the back of the racing point. He might try and do what his teammate did, going down in towards turn 3. Let's have a look. Graham doesn't have that DRS. Bones, DRS now wide open. You can see that Graham is struggling with that ERS as well. Meanwhile, at the front of the grid, Dan, he is so close to the back of Mr. Anchor. He's only 4 attempts behind him, but with that DRS, he's still not able to get past, and same with Bones. Bones, bit of a mistake, and now V5 now trying to go down the inside of Bones in towards turn 5. I think he might even already have that move done before it even gets to that corner. Warren maybe trying to dive it down the inside of the sister team as well. Warren keeping it down the inside. Bones, he's trying to keep it around the outside and trying to hold that position, but I don't think he's going to be able to get any sort of move kept on that, although he did try and stick his nose in there a little bit. But Warren, he does hold that position, or he does manage to get in front there and keep that position, as there are more yellows. Unfortunately, Warshaw once again at turn 2/turn 3. Any wing damage on the Haas car? Doesn't look as if he has. But Dan, he's doing a good job of keeping up with the VSR man of Mr. Anchor. Mr. Anchor, in fact, he's very low on ERS as well compared to Dan. Dan only on 40%. Mr. Anchor's only on 5%. So Dan, possibly into the second DRS zone. We could be seeing a bit of a lead change here. Let's have a look. Dan, he's going to have the DRS wide open. Very nice exit from the Dutchman as well. Here we go. DRS now wide open for the McLaren driver. I don't think he's going to be close enough to get any sort of move done on the Finn. No, he's not. He just has to stay where he is for now. As I said, penalties are going to play a massive factor into this, as Warren and V5 both side by side. Warren already passed the Brit in the Mercedes before reaching that corner. Warren, on the hard tyres, is up into 7th. There we go. That's what I am saying. The penalties are going to start to rack up. Mr. Anchor, a 3-second time penalty, whereas Dan, I know he is one of those people that just does not tend to get any penalties, and I can tell you now, it's very annoying when that happens, because he will always try, he at least jumps 1 to 2 cars when that happens, and since there's only 1 car in front of him and he's only 7 tenths behind that car, if you do the maths, I think Dan could be on with a shout of winning this race. However, it could all go south just from one particular move. But Bree, 6 tenths behind Dan's teammate as he is closing up to the back of him. But this battle here for P6 is where it's getting a bit feisty. Warren, DRS now wide open on the racing point of Graham. Warren helps to go down the inside of turn 2 and keep it around the outside of turn 3. Graham does try to stick his nose in it, but it's not going to be quick enough to keep in that done. And now V5 maybe trying to have a go and see if he can get past Graham possibly, but I don't think he is option 2, as Bones, I didn't say he had his DRS open, which is very odd, but Graham, he's not going to be able to get back past him either, so he has to stay behind him. Dan, though, he's he's still keeping that gap between him and Mr. Anchor at arm's length. I think as soon as Dan loses that DRS, it could be it could be over for him. He just needs to keep in that DRS if he wants any chance of taking the win this evening. We've already done 8 laps, or we're just about to finish the 8th lap of the Austrian Grand Prix, and I will have a look at what the position changes have been so far for you guys, as Graham picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. So there you go, Warren already up 8 places from the start, from the back of the grid. Freight already down 7, so everybody else is just sort of down 1 or down 2 or up 1 or up 2. So yeah, Warren, he's doing a very good job at the moment of moving his way up, especially on those hard compound of tyres. He is one of the quicker ones in the tier. However, as Graham and V5 do just trade places, and now Bones trying to go down the inside of Graham in towards turn 3. Bones just keeping his nose in there, but not able to get any sort of move done. That's going to allow Graham to have a bit more traction off of turn 3. And now Bones, I don't think he's going to be able to get any sort of move done on the racing point, so has to stay behind him for now. But so again, further up ahead, Dan and Anchor, they're still keeping it at arm's reach. Again, I'm not going to go on board with him, because I know it's just a bit of a DRS chain between just those two at the moment. Vallejo dropping back 3.8 seconds as Sean, or Warshaw, has DNF'd. He's gone well off at turn 1. I don't know what happened to him there, but unfortunate for him, as I said, gone off at turn 1. Bones just keeping Graham at arm's length as well, as he looks like he got a much better exit than what Graham did out of the final corner. However, Graham has got that DRS as well. And a little bit further up ahead, you can see Warren and Exie are both close together. As Bones, I thought he was trying to maybe a lunge in towards turn 1, but I'm keeping an eye on this battle, and I'm also keeping an eye on just up ahead, as you can see Warren trying to go around the outside of Exy in towards turn 3. He's not opted to be able to get that done, and now Bones trying to go down the inside of Graham once again in towards turn 3. Graham breaks very late actually, and now Bones managing to get a better traction than what the Racing Point has as he is set to mount the curb, and now Bones up into P8. Graham now jumping down into P9, and Warren, he can't actually find a way past Exy, so Exy keeping his way in P5, although they are both side by side now. Warren trying to go down the inside of Exy into turn 6, gets the move done. I think Exy wasn't trying to fight that one too hard. So Warren, he's up into 5th. He's moving up places after place, and Mr. Anchor, yet another 3-second time penalty. So already on 6 seconds is our championship leader and our current race leader. So Dan, I mean, look how close he is as well. Mr. Anchor's time, he's really struggling around here actually. In fact, Dan, DRS wide open. Mr. Anchor, no ERS either. Is Dan maybe going to try and go for a move in towards turn 3? He's very close. No, he's not. He just stays behind the fin, although he doesn't look like he got a really good exit compared to Dan. Here we go, Dan. DRS now wide open. Is he going to chuck it into overtake? So maybe try and get the move done on the fin. It doesn't look as if he is. I think he's just going to stay behind him for now. I think that was the best opportunity he could have gotten to get past Mr. Anchor, although I think he knows what Mr. Anchor is trying to do. I think he knows that Mr. Anchor has time penalty, so he's just going to stay behind him for now. But O'Hardy and Graham both in a bit of a battle here for P10, as both of them now side by side, as Bag of Bones getting past V5 in for P7. O'Hardy getting past Graham now for P10. Graham, unfortunately, it was a good start for him. He's now dropping down places and now under pressure from Sven. I think you can start to see that these soft tyres are starting to wear down, as Warren, he is catching Bree at a very fast rate, as Dan into the pits, Mr. Anchor into the pits. Vallejo will inherit the race lead, and so will Bree into P2. Warren will inherit P3. Exy, has he come in? No, he hasn't. Bones hasn't come in either. So the top two coming in very early for a set of the hard tyres, as everybody else has actually opted to stay out at the moment, as Frey, yeah, he's staying out as well. So Mr. Anchor and Dan, they both come out. In fact, they both come out just behind this little group here for P8, P7 even. As Frey, 3-second time penalty for the Spaniard, not what you want to be seeing, especially considering what had happened on the first lap. But here we go, another battle that's arising here. This battle here for P5, Bones and V5. Of course, Bones getting past V5 on the last lap. And now V5 maybe wanting a bit of revenge, but not close enough to the Brit in the AlphaTauri. Two Brits going up against each other here. One in the AlphaTauri, one in the Mercedes. Again, no moves able to get done there. Vallejo, he is looking like he's coming in the pits, and so is Brie on this lap. So Warren will inherit the race lead from the looks of things. Exy, is he opting to come in this lap? I don't think he is. So he's just going to be staying out for now. As in fact he does, and like I said, you can be getting penalised if you take the line like that. So Exy could be a bit in trouble. V5 managed to take it properly as well. Green Point, he's looking like he's going to take the pit entry perfectly as well. As Frey, oh, I had to slow down a bit as he saw he was coming in. So a few guys already coming into the pits now. Green Point, V5, Graham, Exy, Bree and Vallejo, and there goes Dan on Sven. That's exactly, I don't think that's what Mr. Anchor would have liked to have seen, but Dan braking very late coming through turn 3, and Mr. Anchor, he's now got a couple cars up ahead of him. He's got the likes of O'Hardy and the likes of Bones, you can see just up the road from him. But Mr. Anchor, he's running very low on ERS. He's sort of around 10 to 15% as he struggles coming out of turn 4, as Dan, he's closing up ever so much to the back of the championship leader, although O'Hardy is going to be under a bit of pressure from these two now, as Bones, 3-second time penalty for him. As there are yellows, it's actually it's a Williams of Green Point, unfortunately, having a bit of a spin. And now Mr. Anchor, look how close he is to the back of O'Hardy. In fact, he got a much better exit than what he did, and now puts a car's length, or puts a car between him and his closest rival of Dan on track at the moment. Dan, he's got to try and get past the Ferrari of O'Hardy. He got the better exit, but with O'Hardy being on a set of the mediums, Dan on the set of the hards, is he going to maybe try and go for a bit of a move? O'Hardy's actually trying to go and close back up to the back of Mr. Anchor, but didn't opt to go for a move. So all of this is really hurting Dan, especially considering that, oh, massive oversteer moment for him as well. That might even allow Sven to try and go for a bit of a move. No, he's too far back. Never mind. It was a bit audacious for me. But Sven has to stay behind him for now. Dan, he really needs to get past that Ferrari, because now Mr. Anchor is going to be shooting off up ahead and getting that gap that he needs from Dan, as there are yellows. In fact, it is Greenpoint. He's come into the pits and unfortunately retired from the session. So everybody that does finish now will get themselves some set of points. As O'Hardy, you can see 1.5 seconds is separating them. Bones into the pits. I believe he took that correctly. I think I just saw out of the corner of my eye. So Bones into the pits. Warren, of course, is still in the lead of the race at the moment, as Dan does get past O'Hardy going through turn 1. However, O'Hardy will have the better exit and have the DRS as well. However, is he going to maybe attempt to go for an overtake? I don't think so. I think he's just chucked it into lean. Despite having that DRS open, he is just going to be carrying it on as normal. As Frey goes into the pits, he did speed into the pits, but he will be in the final points position at the moment, as there are yellows in sector 1 and 2. I think that's just green points. Retired car just getting out of the way. But Dan, he's now 1.7 seconds behind Mr. Anchor, and like I said, he's dropped out of that DRS range, so he needs to catch back up to be able to maybe even just keep in contention with him, because we know Mr. Anchor's pace, and I think that's exactly what Mr. Anchor would have wanted. He wanted that car's width between him and Dan, and he's got that now. Well, he did have that, and is now passed, as Bones and V5 now both side by side going through turn 4, as Bones, this battle once again happening between the pair of them, both giving each other the room that they deserve. Bones keeps it down the inside of V5 in towards turn 7 and turn 8 now, as Bones gets in front and gets the move done on V5. Last week's podium sitter of V5, unfortunately sitting down in 10th position at the moment, but all things can change. All it takes is just one crash and the safety car can come out, and again, as I said, all of that can just change, as Bones and V5 once again, another battle here going in towards turn 1. Bones does brake very late, does try to keep V5 having that room, but V5 getting a very, very fidgety on the exit of turn 1, and look how much that's given that gap between him and Bones. I don't think V5 is going to be able to get any sort of move done on any of these two DRS straights, as he doesn't look like he is even close enough, and in fact he's only just managed to get himself that DRS. But Sven, he's closing up to the back of O'Hardy now, as I think O'Hardy is making his way into the pits, but Sven doesn't look as if he is. So Sven has to go around the outside of O'Hardy, going through there, and Sven maybe trying to go for a bit of an overcut even on O'Hardy. I think that is the one that he is challenging at the moment, as Dan, that gap between him and Mr. Anchor is now 2.5 seconds. And Dan, he is now starting to run a bit lower on ERS, so he is trying as hard as he is pushing as hard as he possibly can to keep up with the current championship leader, as we may see a bit of a battle here for P4. Vallejo and Sven both on different tyres at the moment. Sven trying to keep it around the outside, a bit of a contact between him and Vallejo. Little bit of a dodgy move. I don't think Sven was expecting Vallejo to keep it down the inside, and now Sven does keep P4, and this is really hurting Vallejo to keep up with those guys up ahead, as I think Vallejo's only 6 seconds, but 6 and a bit seconds behind Mr. Anchor. So if he can get past Sven and keep at the pace at what Dan is doing, we might even be seeing a McLaren 1-2, depending on if Mr. Anchor picks himself up maybe another penalty or so, which could be very interesting to say the least. But at the moment, we've still got this battle here going for P4. And I'm very interested to see how this is going to sort of plan out between the pair of them. Of course, Sven, he's still staying out, as O'Hardy, of course, I know he put on a set of the hard tyres. That's a little bit oversteer from Vallejo, but going around the outside of Sven this time, I think he knows better to do that, and already passed the Red Bull. So Vallejo sits in P4 for now, and I'm very interested to see when Warren comes into the pits where he's going to end up towards the end of the race. Of course, he's going to try and go on a set of the softs towards the end. He just needs to take these hards, I think, another 10 more laps as well. But it looks like all the gaps are starting to sort of spread out a little bit more. So, and we are halfway through the race already. So what I will do, I never usually do it on the LOE stream, but I will do it this time anyway. I'll check the penalties for everybody. So let's have a look. Warren, he is on the 1 penalty so far. Mr. Anchor, I know he's on 2 penalties and 2 warnings. So 1 more warning, he gives himself a 3rd penalty. Dan, no warnings so far. I did say he's one of those guys just never picks up a penalty. I say never. Usually, most of the time, he never picks up a penalty. Same thing. But Vallejo, he's on 2 warnings as we speak as well. Sven, 2 warnings, but Vallejo as well, 2 penalties, just to note that as well. But Sven only on 2 warnings. Bree, he's got 2 penalties. Exy, no warnings either. So him and Dan, very good showing. Bones on 3 penalties and 2 warnings, so he could be getting a 4th penalty soon. V5, just a 1 penalty with 2 warnings. O'Hardy, just the 2 warnings as well. Graham, just a 1 penalty. And Frey, a penalty and a 5-second stop go as well. So at the moment, it's really reliant on when Warren and when Sven are both going to be coming in and seeing where they're going to be coming out in relation to everybody else. I think when Warren does come in, he will be... In fact, let's have a look at the gap at the moment for everybody to the leader. So when Warren does come in, he's going to come out around where Bree or where Exy is. I think it's actually probably going to be where Bree is. So Bree really needs to get a move on, as he's actually in fact in DRS of Sven now as well. So Sven, I know he's taken these laps, these mediums, 18 laps so far, but he's sort of edging up. Oh, he's edging down and is now in the grasp of the Maltese of Bree. Of course, Bree has already made that pit stop, whereas Sven hasn't, as Frey picking up a 3-second time penalty. I think I also saw O'Hardy picking himself up a 3-second time penalty as well. So that is his first penalty, and that's not exactly what you want to be seeing. But this battle for P5, it is heating up. Sven still not opting to come into the pits as of yet. So Sven, he's still going to take these mediums 20 laps now. And these tyres, they are surely going to be dying by now. As Warren might even end up coming into the pits and chucking on a set of the mediums, potentially, as Sven, massive oversteer moment out of turn 1. That's Bree. It's just already gotten past Sven before the DRS zone even activated, and Bree, well, that's that move done already for him. As Sven, he will have DRS, and he has significantly more ERS than what Bree does. Although Bree, fresher tyres, you can see just how much fresher they are, as he got much better traction than what Sven did coming out after that hairpin. Sven, I think when he comes out of the pits, he might be around where Frey is as well, but he's going to be on fresh tyres, fresh softs. I think is what he's going for. As Warren, there we go, he chucks it into the pits. He might actually be opting to go on a set of the mediums. So our current race leader is into the pits, and let's see what tyres he is opting to go on. Are those softs? Those are softs. So he's going on the Red Bull tyres. So Warren in and out of the pits on a fresh set of soft tyres. Where is Vallejo in relation to this? He's just coming around and coming past now. Now the two that I'm looking out for, Sven and Warren, both of these guys on different strategies, but they are teammates as well. As Bree around the first corner, Warren is already out of the pit. So Warren's in fact only in P4 and is 12 seconds behind, 13 seconds behind our race leader in 15 laps. It's very doable for him. The only problem is the penalty situation. Of course, as I said, Dan still yet to pick up any penalties. He's 3.8 seconds behind Mr. Anchor now. As in fact, is he starting to pick himself up any ERS? No, he's not. And I'm going to go straight off board with him because getting a bit of the rev glitch with him. But you can just see how fast Warren is in relation to everybody else. But Dan, he's starting to drop off from Mr. Anchor. And of course, if Mr. Anchor picks himself up another 3-second time penalty, then it's just easy sailing for Dan. He just needs to just keep it on track and keep doing what he's doing at the moment. And then that's him that wins. But with him only having 6 seconds of pens at the moment, Dan, he's going to need to try and keep the pace at what he's doing. By the end of it, if my maths isn't, well, crap, I think Dan he may only just lose out that first position to Mr. Anchor if he doesn't pick himself up another time penalty, that is. Sven, he comes into the pits now, though. Is he going to come out where I said about where Frey is? I mean, Frey's just making his way around the final corner now. And Sven is already out of his pit box. Whereas Frey, it's going to be very close between the pair of them. Frey's just coming around the first corner, so is Sven. Close between the pair of them as Frey is in front. And Frey, another 3-second time penalty for the Spaniard as well. So Sven on a fresh set of softs, sitting in P12. I think Frey, he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck when it comes to it as Warren. He's caught up to Vallejo. He was about 4 seconds behind him when he came out of the pits. And that was last lap. He's now only 4 tenths behind him. So Warren, look at that. Just look how much quicker he is. He's going to be, I'm sure I'm going to see it pop up down the bottom left at any second where he's going to have the fastest time. And I reckon it's going to be a 5.5. Well, that's close. 5.6. But there you go. DRS is wide open for the Brit in the Red Bull. He's not going to go for any sort of move because he's going to do it coming up to turn 3. DRS now wide open. Overtake now on Vallejo. Tries to keep it down the inside. I don't think he's going to try and fight that too much because he's in a pretty good points position. Warren, 3rd place. Next one down the road is Dan. 6.3 seconds. And as I said, it's definitely doable for him to catch up to him as well. So we'll ride on board. In fact, we'll ride on board with this battle here for P11 as Sven. DRS is now going to be wide open for the Dutchman in the Red Bull. Trying to go down the inside of Frey. I don't think Frey's going to try and fight that too much as Sven braking very late for that one. Although a bit of a switchback is the Spaniard. He's going to have better traction than what Sven is as well. But Sven, with those fresher tyres, he just gets much better traction than what Frey did. Although DRS is now wide open for Frey. Gain, not going to be able to get any sort of move done. So Bones and Frey, the only 2 on a set of the mediums. And Bones, he's already built that gap up from V5 by about 2 seconds. Although Vallejo, yet another 3-second time penalty. I'm not too sure how this is all going to play into it. I mean, Exy could be jumping up to P4 here towards the end of the race without just picking himself up a penalty as Bones is round. I was talking about Bones possibly having a good race and he's gone completely round at the final corner. Nice little 360 from the Brit, but and luckily avoiding any sort of walls, but that's not exactly what Bones would have been wanting because his tyres are going to be hotter than what a fire would be at the moment. Probably a bit of an exaggeration, but Bones, unfortunate for him, he was running so well up in P7. I think that would have been his highest points finish as well. No, I think P5 might have been. I'm not too sure. But he was looking for another good points position. And unfortunately now down into P10. But of course he's on a fresher set and on a softer compound than what all the guys up ahead of him are, obviously, other than Warren. But Sven is starting to catch up to the back of Bones as well. And we could be seeing a battle emerging here for P10. Bones might be under quite a bit of pressure from him as Frey now out of that DRS range from Sven. And in fact, that is the battle I'm going to go on board with as Warren. Another 3-second time penalty for him. It could be the case where Warren does finish first on track, but he's not going to finish first when it comes to the end result. But sticking on board with this battle, Bones and Sven. Sven now only 8 tenths behind the AlphaTauri. Again, it's the sister teams fighting each other here. So here we go, Sven. DRS now wide open for him. In fact, he's not even opening his DRS, weirdly enough. You can see how much later he has broken, though, from Bones and Bones. A little bit of oversteer out of turn 3. That's now going to allow Sven. He's still not opening his DRS for it, weirdly enough. I don't know if he's got any DRS that's like broken or what. But on my side, DRS is he can use it. I'm really unsure as to why he's not, though. But that's why, because I don't think they can see each other. Sven slips past Bones quite easily, and Bones, don't know what's happened to him there, but he's now down in last. Did he pick himself up like a puncher or something? Because I'm very confused as to what's just happened there. That was very odd. Very odd to say the least. In fact, Bones has come into the pits, and I think he might be retiring from the session. I could be wrong, but Bones, yeah, there you go. He has unfortunately retired from the session, so only the one AlphaTauri that is left. I don't know what the hell just happened there when I just took a breath in then, but yeah, Bones unfortunately out of the race and now top 11. He could have still gotten himself at least a point, but Frey now on the minimum set of points. You've got to complete, of course, 90% of the race. And Warren, well, we're almost to that 90% mark as Warren now, DRS is going to be wide open for him against Dan. I don't think he's going to be able to get any sort of move done as of yet going into towards turn 1. However, going into towards turn 2 and turn 3, we might be seeing something different. Of course, soft versus hard compound Dan. He's a bit of a sitting duck here. He's now under pressure from Warren. Warren trying to go around down the inside in towards turn 2. I think Dan's just giving that one up. He knew he was not going to be able to fight it. Although Frey, another 3-second time penalty at Dan. No time penalties for him as of yet, but he's now out of that 6-second window to Mr. Anchor, so this could be Dan's first win sort of fading away. Dan trying to keep within DRS of Mr. BDG Warren. He's going to need to try and do what he done with Mr. Anchor for the majority of the of his first stint, of just keeping within DRS of the person that he is battling with. But I mean, Warren, he's absolutely running away from it. He's already gotten that 1-second gap from Dan. And Warren, well, really quickly, because I know there's a battle going on for P9 here. I am wanting to check this, check these penalties. Although Sven, he is gaining on him on this DRS straight. He has got the DRS this time, but again, not close enough to get any sort of move done. Let's check these penalties really quickly. So, Mr. Anchor, still only on the 2 penalties at the moment. Still got 1 more warning to go. Warren, I think he's also on 2 time penalties, if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong, unless he's just on the 1 and has 1. He needs 1 more warning as well. So at the moment, Warren could be on for that win, as Dan has now gotten himself 2 warnings. And Vallejo, he's gotten himself 3 penalties as well. Brie, 2 penalties for the Maltese man, so he needs to try and catch up to him a bit more if he wants to try and maybe secure P4 as Graham a 3-second time penalty, because he's under pressure from Sven, as Graham not got enough ERS to maybe try and contend with him. Sven trying to go down the inside into turn 3, breaks a lot later than what the Racing Point does, already getting that move done. Graham, I think, was trying to go for a bit of a switchback, but Sven closes the door on him just like that. Sven now up into P9 on Graham. I think maybe trying to maybe a bit of contention with Sven coming up towards turn 4, but he's not going to try and get anything done, as Sven, of course, on a softer compound tyre. It's a bit of a sitting duck. It's nothing that he could have done at all. Dan, like I said, he's losing out to Mr. Anchor now, and if Dan does pick up that penalty, well, what could have been for him? He's still at least in P2 at the moment. 3.1 seconds separates him and Warren. Warren, in fact, he only has the 1 penalty. To my knowledge, Warren only has the 1 penalty. So even then, he's still only going to maintain P3. Unless we see a bit of a battle brewing up between Mr. Anchor and Warren, of course, for the lead of the race. I think at the moment, Dan is really hoping that Warren catches up to the back of him to try and get some battling going on. As I said, I think Warren only has just a 1 time penalty for now. So Warren, if he gets within those 3 seconds, then he is in the lead of the race. And I don't want to jinx anything. I don't want to commentator's curse anything. But I really hope we do not see a repeat of last week for him, because I think that really demoralised him, and I think he really wants to try and get himself that first win that he really wants. He's only 3.1 seconds now behind the championship leader, and of course on the softer compound tyre, Warren, he's trying to do a last to first around Austria, and he could be well within a shout of actually managing to do it. Literally on the 3-second gap now, and it is really a bit of a reverse from what happened last week. Except this time, it's Mr. Anchor is the one that's in the lead, and Warren is the one that's trying to chase him down. 2.9 seconds now. I think Warren is into technically what is the lead of the race. But separating Dan and Mr. Anchor is now 7.5 seconds. Dan, he really needs to get a move on if he wants to try and win this race, or at least try and get second in this race. But you know what? We're going to ride on board with Warren, because how he's been driving so far, it's just been absolutely stellar. We've only got 4 laps left to go of the Austrian Grand Prix, and as I said, at the moment, he's the one that is taking the win. Right, my apologies for that one, people. I know I've just seen Dan pick up a penalty, and I've seen we're on the final lap of the race, and Warren, he's very close to the back of Mr. Anchor. I think this could be for this race lead. If Warren can get past him, he will inherit the race lead. And Warren, he's thinking back to from what happened last week. Anchor trying to do everything he can to hold on, but he's covering off from Warren. Dylan Warren, he wants to get past him. You can see he's trying everything he can to get past him. 2 attempts only separates them, and this is the battles that Dan was hoping for if he didn't pick up that penalty. But Warren, a little bit edgy on the exit of turn 7. Mr. Anchor just going very deep into turn 8 and turn 9, and Warren very close, but it's no closeness to cars. He actually picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. But Mr. Anchor, he will come home. He will win at Austria. And in fact, Warren actually had 1 extra penalty. So with him picking that up, does that mean Dan jumps him to P2? No, he don't. He jumps and he stays in the P3 if he didn't pick up that 3-second time penalty. That would have been him into P2. But Mr. Anchor, once again, I thought it was looking so promising for him, for both Dan and Warren. Warren at the final corner, picking himself up a time penalty, and I thought that was going to be it for him. Exy, does he jump up any positions? No, he stays in P6. V5, he will stay in P7 unless O'Hardy jumps him. He does. Into P7 goes O'Hardy. V5 into 8th. Sven, does he jump him? No. Very close between these two. A little bit of a drag race to the end, and I think Frey got jumped by Graham at the end. I think Graham picking himself up P10. Yes, he did. But, like I said, I don't think anyone can stop this guy. Mr. Anchor once again taking the win around here, this time at Austria. But, as I said, there's your final classifications. Mr. Anchor taking the win once again, pole position and the win. Warren, driver of the day, easily. 14th to 2nd on the grid, and so close. So close to taking a win this time. Unfortunately, that penalty on the final lap, the final 2 corners, and he just needed 1 more lap and he would have had him. Unfortunate for the Brit, but he finishes 2nd. Dan does finish in P3 in the end. Vallejo in 4th. Bree in 5th. XE in 6th. Hardy in 7th. V5 in 8th. Sven in 9th with Graham in 10th. Frey finishing in P11. And unfortunately, our 3 DNFers of Bones, Greenpoint and Warshaw were the ones that unfortunately hadn't managed to take the win. But that is all she wrote for the Austrian Grand Prix. Everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys next week here for the PC tier for one of my favourite tracks as well, of Britain. Also, make sure to tune in tomorrow for Division 1 and Division 3 and Division 4, all at 6:40 PM UK time, and Division 2 and Division 5 at 8 PM UK time. As I said, make sure you guys